So we went back to Remlinger Farms again this year for the Halloween festivities, the fall harvest as it were, as we do every year. And although we did get free admission, I don't believe that colors our review. So they added a big indoor section adjacent to the theater for rainy days. There's tables in there, there's good stuff. But let's make this more about fun and kid stuff. So these ponies, where you can see right here, Max struggling to get on one. These ponies, when we first went, Max didn't exist. Brendan and Dom were so little, they could barely get on them. And Tina had to walk with them. And now, Brendan and Dom, they're like, oh no, those are too little for us. We're kind of big kids now. And it's kind of crazy to look at it. And they're looking at this place going, gosh, everything seems so... It all kind of seems so big, you know? So while Max is off doing his thing, we get to pet the other ponies who are not working.
Hey Mom, did you say I should bite it? Bite it. Bite it.
He's your brother.
And it's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Have a good day today.
And as Brendan and Dom get older, they're developing their own senses of humor, and it's kind of awesome to see.
So I want you to lean forward and swing that leg.
Max, of course, still enjoys a pony ride.
Awesome. Give me a high five.
Maybe the older boys would enjoy a horse ride, a proper horse ride, but I don't know. We did manage to get Patrick on an actual horse in Flathead Lake, at Flathead Lake Lodge in maybe 2008 or so. And, it was really exciting. One of the coolest attractions of all the rides they have is a roller coaster. And I say that with mixed deference. There is a roller coaster. It is a roller coaster. It is the smallest thing I would consider a roller coaster. And as these things are all the rage, I've gone ahead and done a video from the perspective of being on the ride. And this is such a tame roller coaster. The guy didn't bat an eye at the fact that I was bringing a camera on the ride and holding it in my hands the whole time. Listen to Dom scream. And me laugh. And because it's so short, you go a second time. The screams abound. But the good news is the second ride is over. And you go for a third ride. Screaming like a little girl once again. But the third ride, of course, comes to an end. And you go for a fourth ride. The screams, not so much the fourth time. Now this roller coaster didn't even exist the first time we went to the park. It was only added a few years ago. And it's really good. Now there's other rides. Here you can see the the Barras. Now the place looks empty as heck. And that's because we went on a day that was scheduled for rain, and we went the minute they opened. By the time we left, the place was packed because it didn't rain. But rides like this, oh no, not for me. Not for me. Maybe it's my age, maybe it's my weight, I don't know. I just can't do these spinny ones. No. I did go on the flying pumpkins. Now I have to say, my fairly inexpensive shotgun mic that I've been using for the segments of the video where I remembered to turn the goddamn thing on, actually worked out pretty well. It does a pretty good job, and from the reviews I've seen, I could get slightly better audio for 10 times the price. By the end of this flying pumpkin ride, I was half about ready to retch myself inside out. But again, I just don't do rides like this. When we were in California at, what was it called? Castle Park in Riverside, California. We went on this wild roller coaster, and it was so insane and so terrifying and so much fun. But it didn't spin you around, it didn't loop you around, it didn't try and make you sick. It was so much fun that Tina and I went on it, I'm going to say 3 times. The lines were short because it was at the far end of the park. And, oh yeah, it was wonderful. This, my God, even looking at it to make this video, I'm just about ready to get sick again. The boys seem equally unfazed and nonplussed. They've been on this ride so many times. They're examining it. You know. Great. Curiosity, man. That's a trait I want in my children. The park has quite a lot of stuff, as you can see from this eye in the sky overview. There's a rock climbing wall the kids have only tried once. Brendan tried it once, maybe 4 years ago. He got up about 5 feet and freaked out. There's a hay maze, which when the kids were little was so much fun. They walked around in there, but this time it was so early and it was so empty, they just walked around on top of it, which the signs are very clear you are not to do. So I told them, guys, hey, guys, listen. You should do that now, because if you don't, they're going to come around soon and you're going to get in trouble. So do it now, make it quick. And Brendan even said, it seems so little. He remembers when it was big. There's a school bus. I'd call it an abandoned school bus. Hell, I'd call it a haunted school bus. You know, it's a fun distraction. And what was interesting was the kids got into it and said, this just doesn't seem like a normal school bus. And Tina and I were like, wait, what do you mean? They're like, well, the seats are weird. The walls are weird. The paint is weird. Everything is weird. And apparently, they don't make school buses like they did when we were kids, which is, you know, I mean, that's pretty weird. School buses have apparently changed. I haven't been on one in 30 years, 25 years at least. So this one is definitely an antique. So then we went on the pedal cars, and this is something we don't normally do, but the boys have been riding bikes this year, and it seems that they've got the leg strength, so we did it. And they actually had a lot of fun, and so did I. because I've got enough leg strength that I can actually pop a wheelie in these silly little four-wheel cars that have pedals. It was kind of crazy. A big lesson I learned from this entire thing is that I need to use a Steadicam. Now I have one, but it's much too cheap. I need to actually, just watching this, I'm getting sick. So I can't imagine. Yeah, it's not great. The boys did all learn to ride bicycles this year. Patrick, Brendan, and Dom are all riding bikes, which is, awesome. And apparently that's not a normal thing for kids anymore. Their classmates don't ride bikes. Only a handful do, and they do. And I was really proud to teach them how to do it. Of course, then Brendan crashes his four-wheel car, but not for me. Okay. Munchkin, which is apparently the name of this actual goat, Munchkin escaped from his pen. And I went over to the people who work there. I was like, yeah, there's a goat just wandering around. And they're like, oh, that's Munchkin. He does that. Because apparently it's kind of hard to contain goats on account of their propensity for jumping and climbing and just kind of not being constrained by normal things that, these guys live on cliffs and trees. And the steam train is always a favorite of ours. It's not the most exciting ride. It's not, the lines are nice and short. But they have an actual steam locomotive. It's kerosene powered. They do use real water for the steam on account of water being ubiquitous and steam ready. The train runs every 20 minutes, and it runs along the side of the park, and you get to see kind of everything you missed. And for the private parties, sometimes they do private. If you want to do a private party and have your own private area, the train will stop over there and pick you guys up, drive you back, drive you around, whatever. And you can see the whole park, and you can also go over and see a variety of animals you can't see on the rest of the farm. Peacock, alpaca, squirrels. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff there. You can see the goat climb. This whole massive structure set up for the goats to climb. But in all the years we've been going, I've never seen a goat there. You can see the antique cars. They actually bought those from Seattle Center when they were divesting their entertainment stuff from the World's Fair in 60, what was that, 3 or 4? Patrick decided he wasn't going to do the antique cars because in Riverside, he didn't fit in a car and he didn't like it and he wanted to get in from the wrong side and it was a whole thing. Across the river, you can see an old train trestle that's been converted to a hiking, walking, biking path. This is part of the Rails to Trails program where they take derelict train routes and convert them into walking paths. it's just kind of fun to look at the kids at different ages in the same place and see them kind of go through the same experiences over and over. And the boys told me I hyped them a bit the night before, and they were just so excited to do this. And Max said it's his favorite thing he does. In this case, since it wasn't raining, the alpaca decided that we were the most interesting thing in the world, and they decided to follow the train. And not just follow it. I mean, they chased us. They had fun. One of them looked like he had a stain on his back, like someone had spilled wine on him. To which I told the boys, it's fine, alpaca another sweater. Took him about 2 minutes to figure out that alpaca was the joke. It's fine. It's a dad joke. It's a dad joke. And what's fun is the area that they actually use as a garage for the train, they double as a tunnel for the train's journey. And just to make it more fun on the inside, they go ahead and put creepy lanterns and creepy haunted eyes, and then as you come out the other side, there's a scary hobo banjo band. Now in past years the banjo band has been actually animated, but this year it appeared that the animatronics were not working. What's fun is there's this cool little boat thing. It just kind of goes in a circle, not a circle, but a squiggle circle. When Brendan and Dom were little, they were just the right size. You could put two in a boat. You could put one in each boat. They could race, so to speak, by pulling along the sides, and they'd have so much fun. And Brendan and Dom stood by the side, and I said, hey, do you want to go in? Go in and ask them if you're too big. And Brendan said, nope, I'm too big. I'm too big. No thanks. Pass. Dom said, well, I'll go ask, but I'm not committed to it. So he goes in and asks the guy, hey, well, he didn't ask. I had to yell from across the fence, hey, is he too big? And the guy looked at me and goes, yeah, he's too big. And Dom goes, yeah, that's fine. And he came back out. But the boys looked at it and they're like, my God, it's so small. In my memory, this thing was, it was huge. It was larger than life. It was so big that we could just, journey around the track, endlessly. And if we came early enough, they could. There were a few occasions where they went around 2 or even 3 times because there were no other kids waiting. But yeah, even Max at 6, you can see he's pulling himself along and guiding the canoe. But for little kids, this is great. And the thing is, Remlinger Farms is, to me, best for little kids. Like 3 to 6 are going to get maximum joy out of it. Beyond that, you're going to get diminishing returns. But even the older boys, even Patrick, who's 17, just loved it. This place has been, it's been so much fun to us for just forever. So the wildlife at night, we're not fans. There's a collection of stuffed wildlife. Bonnie told me that she spent an entire summer on eBay gathering this stuff. And it's all trophies and just ill-preserved stuff. The space used to have a haunted house, which was cheesy and wonderful, and we loved it, and we wish they'd bring it back. The kids remember it. They talk about it. We miss the haunted house. So this year, Eric Ode was not available on the day we went. Eric Ode normally does weekends, and Cyndi Soups normally does weekdays, and we've never been on a weekday, so all the years, the 9 years we've been going, we've never seen her before. So this year we were given a rare treat, which was to see a whole new show. And Cyndi Soups does kids' favorites. She brings out puppets. She brings kids up onto the stage. She lets kids do open mic. You know, bring your best joke and make them clean. And apparently that should go without saying, but to some of the kids, she did have to clarify. And yeah, she does great stuff. My favorite part was when she went into Grandma's Feather Bed by John Denver. That is one of the best songs from my childhood. My dad had it on tape, and man, that was really great in my childhood.
But the best I think about Grandma's house was a great big bed. Here we go. It was 9 feet high, 6 feet wide, something down the chimney. Bang for the bellies, 40 ladies to the hole, up for the tree. In the hole, they
Of course, after the show was over, we demanded that Dom try on the fat suit, and reluctantly he did. He didn't like it. That's fine. It was more for me than for him. Then we went over to the petting zoo. And I tell you, bunch of jackasses over there. Well, like 3 jackasses. The petting zoo isn't, super exciting. It's, a few goats, lambs, sheep, etc. But, the kids love it. And pardon me, but as an adult, I kind of loved it too. Did you know that donkeys are actually soft? Softer than goats. Did you know that goats are kind of assholes? If you don't, you should. Because, as Cake once said, sheep go to heaven, goats go to hell. No, it was great. And of course, all around the park, there's these cutouts where you can take pictures and have fun. A lot of the rides are geared specifically for little kids. So like this one, it's a carousel. You have to be like over 29 inches and under 37 or something like that. It's a very narrow height range you can be in to actually go on the ride. But as you can see, by this time of day, there are enough kids that the ride is basically full. And if you're within the height range, it's perfect. And if you're not, well... And here you've got another one of those rides. You can see it's very small. It's a Ferris wheel that is... Well, it's entirely caged in, so you have to be extremely small. Now, there was a time when Brendan and Dom could both ride this. They could get in the car together. And, here's Max just climbing around from side to side, hanging out in the middle, being a smart ass. In the restaurant, there's so much great stuff. There's fresh pastries, cookie chip muffins you can see, blueberry, raspberry. They've got some really good fish and chips. I had a pesto chicken sandwich that was surprisingly good and remarkably affordable. Also, we had mochas next to the theater where they do the puppet shows that were easily $1 or $2 cheaper than you would get at Starbucks, and every bit as good. Now, included with your admission is a hay ride over to the corn maze and the pumpkin patch. And this year they had a 1953 vintage tractor going, and a really great, clever, elderly smartass narrating the whole thing. So once you're over in the pumpkin patch, this year they had a better variety of stuff than before. In past years, they've had all same breed, all same seed, all same stuff planted at the same time. So basically you had all pumpkins that looked roughly the same. Now this year they had blue pumpkins and pink pumpkins and orange pumpkins, big, little, small. It was kind of nice to see the variety. And this year, with your paid admission, you get half off, which means 10 cents a pound. So a 20-pound pumpkin is $2. Some seedlings, some little micro gourds that didn't even come to fruition. And I was like, you know what? Throw them on the counter. Let's see what they charge us. And of course, the guy's like, no, you can just take those. It's a baby pumpkin. A baby pumpkin.
Okay, I'm making a video and people are gonna think you're talking about dicks.
Don't actually do it.
So why is how you can even hold that?
You can put that down on the ground.
No.
You want to hold my dirty one?
Mine is dirty enough.
And when did you do one of these?
What is it?
Baby pumpkin. Baby green pumpkin.
Okay, y'all, we're gonna go down some steep hills and everything, but does anybody know how old this tractor is?
So then we popped back on the hayride, went back over to our car with the pumpkins in hand so we could throw them in the van and, drive over to the corn maze and corn maze it up. Now, it's not so much a corn maze as a corn walk. And frankly, with little kids, that's all the better. So again, what I really need to do is start using a Steadicam or an image stabilizer of some sort, because as much as I think I'm walking steady, apparently I've got the gait of Frankenstein's monster. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. I guess they are our de facto sponsor of the week, and with that in mind, you know what? I'm fine with it. They didn't pay us. They don't know that they are our sponsor, and I hope they're not upset that they are. So there you go. Remlinger Farms. Just kind of a staple in our child rearing. So check them out.